Hey everybody, today we're going to show you how to find all 17 skill fruit tree locations here in Palworld. And now do keep in mind, each one of these trees is going to offer you 3 different skill fruits, and they're going to be different pretty much every time that you hit them. So what you see in this video is not necessarily what you're going to see in your game. Also, they do respawn just around every 7 hours. So you will have to wait a little bit of time after hitting these things. But without further ado, let's jump into it. Our first location is going to be found on the southeastern part of the map, pretty close to where the original spawn is, just northeast of the grassy Behemoth Hills fast travel. You guys can see with the star indicator on our map here. When you make it to the top of the hill up here, you guys will see where the 2 rocks kind of separate. Right at the top of the hill is where you're going to find your first tree. Our second location is going to be found just north of the small cove fast travel. You can see that fast travel is located right here. And right here where our star is where you're going to be able to find our second tree. So pretty open area, easy to spot right on the edge by the water. Our third location is going to be found just north of the fast travel that's right here, called Sealed Realm of the Guardian. And if you look just to the northeast, there's going to be a pretty massive pond right here. If you head to the beach on the bottom side of that, directly across from where you can see the waterfall, you're going to see the tree hanging out right here in the sand. So this will be tree number 3. Our fourth location is going to be found just to the west of the Investigator's Fork fast travel. As we zoom in here, you guys will see that fast travel is going to be located right here. If you go just to the west on top of this mountainside where our star is, right up here is where the rock is going to go to this really tall pointy end. If you go down the hill just a little bit, you'll see here mixed with the regular trees is going to be our 4th skill fruit tree. Our next location is going to be found just northwest of the Lake Center fast travel. So as we zoom in here, you guys are going to see we're at the top of this mountain at this peninsula, and the Lake Center fast travel is right here. So if you take this and go just northwest right up here around where we have our star, you'll see at the edge of the cliff right here by itself is going to be our next skill tree. Our next location is going to be found just west of the small settlement. As we zoom in here, you guys can see we're essentially going to be on top of this mountain right here where our star is located. Again, right here is the small settlement fast travel. So if you just make your way west, once you get up here, this one's a little tricky to find. There's a giant rock that's kind of pointing out into the openness. We're not going to be at the very, very top of that rock, but if you work your way down to where all the trees are located right here in the middle of all the normal trees is going to be our next skill fruit tree. Our next location is found just northeast of the Ascetic Falls fast travel. You can see that is located right here. And what you want to do is make your way on top of the mountain right around where this star is located on our map. And once you make it up here, you guys will see right on the edge of the cliff, you're going to be able to find our next one. So we'll give you a good look around here so you can see where we're at. And again, the tree is going to be found right here on the ledge. Our next tree is going to be found just northeast of the Mount Floppy Summit fast travel. As we zoom in here, you guys can see that fast travel is going to be right about here. And once you make it here, just head to the northeast, just east of where you see the sand on your map. On the edge of this island, once you make your way over here, you're going to see there's 3 trees in a triangle, and our skill fruit tree is going to be right in the middle of these guys. Our 9th location is going to be found over on the Forgotten Island, which is right here where you can see our arrow. We're going to be just south of the Forgotten Island Church Ruins fast travel. You guys can see there's a little small pond right here, and it's actually a divot. So you can see there's a giant hole in the ground for the most part. And once you make your way over here and you look down into that hole right over here on this ledge, it's going to be our next skill fruit tree. Our 10th location is going to be found just southeast of the Sealed Realm of the Swift fast travel. You guys can see that one's going to be located right here. If you head just to the southeast where we have this really cool looking crack in the island, you'll see right about where our star is located, you're going to be able to find our next skill fruit tree. And we'll show you around just a little bit. You've got the giant skeleton right here and a bunch of dirt, and right up the hill where all the trees start to appear in the middle of all those will be your next tree. Our next location is going to be found just southwest of the Marsh Island Church Ruins. You guys can see that fast travel is going to be right here on this little island. And if you head just southwest, you guys will see on your map, there's a really small looking pond. This is actually a giant cave area. I'm sure most of you have explored this already. But if you make your way down into the cave, there's several different entrances. You guys can see you do have the entrance to a dungeon right here. And right beside that entrance is going to be our next skill fruit tree. Tree number 12 is going to be found on the southern side of Mount Obsidian. This is going to be right next to the Mount Obsidian Anubis statue fast travel right here on this little island. And funny enough, it's actually right underneath the giant Anubis statue that's out here. So it'll be pretty hard to miss. But once you get over here, right over here by his feet, you'll be able to find your next skill fruit tree. Our next location is on the northern side of Mount Obsidian. You can see we're actually going to be just to the west of the ruined Fortress City fast travel. And if you come right over here exactly to where we have this star, you can actually use the landmark, these two towers up here on top of the mountain. You guys can see the other part of the city is down below, and over there's the fast travel. Make your way up to where you see these two cool looking towers, and right below them is going to be your next skill fruit tree. The next tree is going to be found on the far northern side of the tundra region. You guys can see we're actually going to be just northeast of the land of absolute zero fast travel, and right up here in this little circular area where you guys can see our star. Just make your way up here. You guys will see up here in the open on the hill is going to be our next skill fruit tree. Our 15th tree is going to be found on the far eastern side of that tundra region. You can see where we're actually going to be out here in the grassy part of this island. Right over here on the cliffside, this is actually a really cool spot for a base for any of you that want to come out here. Really open area, and it's green. Right over here on the edge is where you're going to be able to find your next skill fruit tree. Our 16th tree location is going to be found in the desert region, and this is going to be on the mountain just north of the Dune Shelter fast travel. So if you make your way north, right up here where we have the star on top of the mountain, it'll be pretty easy to spot as there's really nothing else around it, and it's right here in the middle of the desert. So this will be your next skill fruit tree. Our 17th and final skill fruit tree is going to be found on the southwestern side of the desert region. This is southwest of the Dune Shelter fast travel, and just north of the Sand Dunes entrance fast travel on top of this mountain right here where you guys see our star on the map. And once you make your way up here, it's going to be found right next to all of these desert trees. And right here is going to be your last skill fruit tree. But this is how to find all 17 skill fruit trees here in Palworld. Hopefully this video helps some of you guys out. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the next one.